Hey everybody, it's Brandon, the Weekend Cruiser, where I go on a weekend cruise just about every weekend, or try to go on a weekend cruise just about every weekend. And so I wanted to do a 2022 cruise year-end recap with you all to say, hey, how did I do in living up to that goal of being on a cruise ship every single weekend? And so I wanted to give you my cruising stats from this past year, let you know where I've been, and stay tuned to the end because I'm going to give out some superlatives for some of the best and some of the not so best cruises that I've been on in 2022. So anytime there's a lot of numbers, I'm going to have my spreadsheet pulled up over here, giving me the information that I want to share with you all. So forgive me for looking away from the camera for a little bit, but for 2022, I went on a total of 27 cruises for 120 nights being at sea in 2022, or about 1/3 or 33% of the year. Of those, 24 of those cruises were with Royal Caribbean, so definitely stayed loyal to Royal in 2022 by doing 24 of the 27 sailings with Royal Caribbean. So 15 of those were a weekend cruise. You know I love going on a weekend cruise, and I did 15 of those as a weekend cruise. The kicker here is that I touched, however, my true goal, I guess, at the end of the day is to be on a cruise ship every weekend. To say that every weekend that went by, I touched a cruise ship, and I did that for 34 out of the 52 weekends. I only missed about 18 different weekends for some work travel. I did some land-based trips, and I was sick for a little bit in 2022 that I had to cancel some sailings. Otherwise, this number probably would have been a little bit higher. Of all of those 27 sailings, the breakdown of how long they were, so 15 of them were the 3-night cruises. We had 3 that were 4-night sailings, 9 were 5-night or longer sailings, and I was on 11 different ships, which is kind of hard to imagine that I went to 11 different ships out of that 27. And Freedom of the Seas I was there for 14 of those 27 sailings. So a lot of those cruises were on Freedom of the Seas, my home ship. I did Oasis for 4 sailings, and I also tried 3 new lines, cruise ship lines, over this past year of 2022. So I was on the MSC Divina, I was on the Virgin Scarlet Lady, and I just got off of the Celebrity Infinity. I'm actually still here in my hotel room in Santiago, Chile, making this video, reporting out how everything went in 2022. Now, if I look at the different ports of call that I went to, this is, something I love seeing the world. I will absolutely take a weekend cruise going to the Bahamas, but love seeing the world. So I went to Nassau in 2022 15 times. I went to Coco Cay a total of 21 times. And I visited a total, when I look at all the different ports that I went to 20 different ports throughout the entirety of 2022, which I think is just really neat to think that I went to that many places in one year. Now, giving out some of those superlatives now. So what is my absolute favorite cruise that I did in 2022? And I'm going to have to say that was the Celebrity Infinity, a South American cruise that I actually just got off of. Number one, it was my longest sailing at 12 nights that I've ever done, and that was just fantastic. But the itinerary, allowing me to be able to see a section of the world, we went all the way down to Cape Horn, the end of the world, if you will, to check out what was all down there. And it was just a really, really great time. Lots of activities that I enjoyed. And it was, the highlight of my year when I look at what cruise ships I really like the most. My least favorite cruise, and this might not surprise many of you all from the other videos that I have made, but my least favorite sailing was actually the Vision of the Seas in the Mediterranean. It was absolutely no fault of the Vision of the Seas. I love that cruise ship. I think that it is a smaller ship, which you all know that I like, but very well maintained. But the itinerary there just wasn't for me. It was a little bit sleepy, a little bit boring, and honestly, I didn't do some of the planning that I needed to really make that trip be a success. So some of it is the itinerary, some of it was totally on me, but at the end of the day, that was probably my least favorite trip for a few different reasons. My most adventurous cruise, I would say, would be the Virgin Voyages Scarlet Lady. So when everybody thinks about Virgin Voyages, there's definitely a stereotype or something that we are thinking of. And so that was more outside of my comfort zone, but I really enjoyed the experience. But it was, really trying out a new cruise line that I had heard a lot of mixed reviews on it. So I was very fortunate to be able to go and check it out myself. So my favorite ship out of the 11 total ships that I did was Freedom of the Seas, my home ship. You all know that it is the Goldilocks size for me. It's not too big, not too small, has lots to do. It's been amplified recently. It is a really, really solid ship with great entertainment, good food, and I think that that's probably been my favorite ship that I've been on so far. My least favorite ship, and you know what? I'm not one who likes to talk poorly about my children because I love all the ships about the same. But I don't necessarily want to name one, but it might be Liberty of the Seas. And I hate to say that, but of all the ships that I've been on so far, Liberty is probably the one needing the most help. It is still a good cruise ship, but make sure you're checking out the video where I cover that and kind of see why I may be dinging it a little bit more than some of the other cruise ships. All right, everybody, that is my 2022 year-end recap. Make sure you're also checking out the next video to see what I'm doing for 2023, what is already on the books, because I've got some great cruises and itineraries already planned, and I hope to rival or beat those numbers from this past year. All right, everybody, this is Brandon, the Weekend Cruiser. Hoping to see you on a Weekend Cruise soon.